Boxing was my salvation.
Get your hands right, man. There you go, much better.
It can be a vicious, dangerous sport. My surgeon said he couldn't count how many times my nose had been broken.
46-year-old Rodney Cummings has been retired from boxing for over 20 years. His reputation as a hard-hitting slugger still resonates in and out of the ring.
He has credibility that most of us don't have.
Aggressive.
Is that tight enough? You want it tighter?
They said he was tough to beat when he was in shape.
Sometimes you just got to stand your ground.
The 7-time champion returns to the ring,
It takes years to become a fighter.
this time as an assistant coach at the Muncie Powell Club.
Come on, work the body, Carvin.
He coaches the young gloves on how to adapt and overcome.
Come on, hit him.
As mentor, he lends his knowledge of how to stay off the ropes and become a contender in life.
You do not do young people a favor by not holding them accountable for their behavior.
I had a couple good friends that's boxed with me that's been in prison. I did not want to go there.
That should be a sign to you, baby. Come on. We spend as much time in the gym talking about life as we do talking about boxing. I can hear you breathing heavy, man.
When he started coming up here, it didn't just help me, it helped everybody who's up here boxing.
Kyle, you gotta suck it up. Come on.
I've learned if you don't work hard, you don't really get nothing.
Doesn't that boost your confidence a little bit?
It makes me feel good that people can come from anywhere and do anything.
He's dying.
About 4208 was wanting 2 units to look for the subject.
I was pretty desperate and needed to get money. Pretty much was living on the streets. Everybody I knew was doing drugs and committing crimes.
Cummings could not rely on his parents for help. His mother was a drug-addicted prostitute, and his father packed up and moved out of town, leaving Rodney to fend for himself.
I was arrested for breaking into a residence. I was charged and convicted of entering to commit a felony. I broke into a house and stole a coin collection. This is as bad as it gets in our society. I remember vividly when I got out of jail, having the understanding in my mind that this was never going to happen to me. I was never going to go back to jail. Boxing was the vehicle that I used to get out of the condition that I was in.
In 1979, the scales of justice tipped in Rodney's favor. A pardon from the governor freed him to follow his dreams.
He didn't take his job lightly. He was definitely a policeman's policeman.
Rodney then shuffled back to school for a law degree and later ran for prosecutor. Ironically, he defeated the same prosecutor that had put him behind bars as a kid.
And then I realized, oh, that's right, that is what happened. It never really occurred to me. That was not the motivation when I ran. I ran because I thought it was time for someone else to do the job. Judge isn't here yet.
He uses a combination of boxing with law as he prepares for each case like a prize fight.
Tenacious.
Because the rule is if they're in one of the courts up here, the other cases count. That's the local rule.
He's a professional. He's a competitor. I don't know that we'll ever make a gentleman lawyer out of him.
It's competition. It's not physical competition. It's more intellectual competition. It's not nearly as friendly when they see me in court as when they see me in the gym.
Leaving the courtroom for the canvas, Rodney steps out of retirement.
I think I'll do all right.
The former Golden Gloves gladiator once again becomes the main event.
Come on, Rodney.
It's time to get nasty in the wigwam.
Any questions from the prosecutor?
No, sir.
Any questions from the defense?
No, sir.
Let's get it on!
This is a young man's sport. This is not for guys my age, that's for sure.
Work out. Oh, hey, lock that up. Come on. 10 seconds.
You never say never, but I'd be very surprised if I do this again.
All right, one step back. Come on, attaboy, work out. Come on. Time.
For an old man, he was good. I'm twice as young as he is, and he's still tough.
I can't imagine where I would have been without boxing in my life.
All right. Good job.
I'm photojournalist David Hodge for Eyewitness News.
Fish usually bite it good early in the morning or late in the evening. And there one just jumped right there. I'd like to catch another big cat. Nope. And you think you got a big one, you end up with reality. Stick fish. It's usually pretty quiet. Except when them trucks come by. You get airplanes too. Guy across the bridge. He likes target practice. Oh, shoot. He got him a worm.
Jerrells Barber Shop. This ain't Mayberry, but it's pretty close to it. Early Saturday morning, I get a few storytellers.
A largemouth bass so big that you could eat the lips.
This is character country right through here. Well, I used to work construction. I ended up having 3 heart attacks, and I was trying to find something I needed to do where I could be my own boss. That's how I got into barbering.
He doesn't charge me any extra for having a big head.
I stay pretty busy. Look at that. Beautiful.
But after 26 years of cutting hair,
Finest haircut around.
trimming beards, and telling fish stories,
There's a gal wanting night crawlers, just about busy.
Jerrell decided to expand his business to help lure in new customers.
Jerrell's got the best worms in town. Big fat ones.
There's quite a bit of space up here, and I was just trying to find something just to do to make a little money up here, so I opened up a little bait shop.
I thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stop in for a flat top and get a dozen worms to go.
There it goes. Oop. Supposed to catch him in the mouth. Pack up and go home. Feed the fish day.
God put me here for a reason.
Anyone who works with wood, I think rather enjoys the smell of wood.
5 3/8.
The Home Craftsman's Forum is an organization that was started actually in 1948. You ready?
I'm on, yes.
Okay. And it's a club of people who are interested in woodworking. I'm going to run it through the planer. That's why we ran it through the saw several times to make sure we were getting the exact amount off of it.
And wood is kind of nice because you can do things with it. It yields to what you want to get done. It's a relaxing hobby. And what was the distance?
7 and a very shy 7/8.
This is what takes up the time, setting up your tools.
Just cut off like 13 inches.
What's your name?
That's what Christmas is all about.
How old are you, TJ?
Here's where we need 4 hands.
To me, it's to go one step further and spend some time and create something for someone that you don't even know.
Barry. What do you want for Christmas?
Yeah, that's just perfect.
Pokemon green version.
10 spinning tops.
A Jeep.
2 doll rocking chairs.
Have you been a good boy this year?
Most of the children that receive these toys, it is not their fault. They have done nothing to be in a position where Christmas is sparse for them. We load them up. That one fit. For the most part, they're virtually indestructible.
I've got 2 of them.
I got 2.
Does this go?
Yes.
Some of these kids would not get any toys if it weren't for us making these toys.
Put the more fragile ones on top.
That really gets to the heart. And we really work a little harder knowing that.
Children in Crisis, Coburn Place, Day Spring Center.
I have seen both sides, and I was one of those recipients, just like we make for the clubs. My parents had trouble with money, and neighbors would clothe us and buy us our toys. So I have a very good feeling when we complete toys and deliver them. I feel it.
It's a sleigh for the 21st century. We load them up. There you go. Fits right in there. Just so we leave enough space for him to get in to dry.
It would not be a Christmas store if it wasn't from these gentlemen bringing in these toys. This one too, sir?
Should be it.
Okay.
For anyone who's a parent or a grandparent who gets to see their kids with all of the toys that they seem to get at this time of year, and then knowing that something you did for some of these kids that have nothing, it makes you feel pretty good, I'll tell you.
I think they are the Santa Claus, not Santa's helpers. They are Santa Claus themselves.
Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho.
Cold, pretty cold.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
That wind just cuts you in half.
We've got turkey in a pan and we've got ham in a pan.
Make the Yuletide gay.
everybody be blessed for the house you're living in.
From now on, our troubles will be miles away, away.
It's Christmas. You need to be celebrating, rejoicing, and part of that is paying attention to those who are less fortunate.
I'm awake now, warm, a little hungry. Go over here to Canary Cafe and get something to eat.
That's a little bit shy.
I'm alone at Christmas, and I don't like it.
We end up feeding about 350 to 400 people.
This is how we make dressing for a big crowd.
It makes you feel pretty good, you know, that somebody cares that, you know, enough about people out here that they'll do something like that.
Trying to firm them up a little bit.
4 years ago, I was homeless and living on the streets, and you know, I feel a real responsibility to help out because at one time I was helped out. You're kind of a faceless person out there, very lonely.
I think I need one more plate.
We have no family in town, so we would probably not have anything but hot dogs today.
The Canary Cafe, it does have a bit of a Christmas tradition as a home away from home. I guess we're delivering happiness as well as a Christmas dinner.
Merry Christmas.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And it's just something cool about saying we're going to Indy to race. You know, I think it's everybody's dream.
Once racing gets in somebody's blood, you're not going to get rid of it.
Wait a minute. Is that IRL champion Sam Hornish Jr. driving a Winston Cup car?
Something to do for fun and, you know, keep working on the eye-hand coordination. You know, it's just a scaled-down version.
With NASCAR, I mean, of course, over the wall you've got 6 guys, and then back at the shop you probably got 75 or 80. With radio control cars, you're pretty much your chief mechanic, you know, your team manager, and everything all in one.
Gets it all sticky, so it sticks to the track.
We spend 15 minutes on the track in a race night of actual race time, and we spend 5 or 6 hours here. There is a lot of setup involved.
It's very competitive.
They're really pretty technical.
We're removing the motor out of the car.
Just about any adjustment that they have on a Winston Cup car, we can just about do on these.
Pretty important piece of equipment to have if you're wanting to run up front. We use them to gather the data from the dyno. It's telling me what kind of maximum power output. It tells me what kind of maximum RPMs that the motor are turning. You know how to gear it. And by the sound of it, the motor sounds like it's still in good shape. Most of the time you can get a full race day out of a motor. Unfortunately, these won't go 500 miles. The battery is the lifeblood of the car.
Probably the one thing that's different between RC racing and real racing is most of your competitors are a lot more helpful in RC racing as far as getting set up right.
Makes the car want to kind of wiggle a little bit.
There are some secrets that some people don't let out.
How many times have I told the media to leave me alone? I don't have time for this. You're under a tent.
We do have specific rules that we have to follow. With the indoor tracks on carpet, we have a certain ride height so we don't tear the carpet up.
We're ready to go.
A little bit nervous about it.
Your heart gets pumping and you feel a competition. I think a lot of the skills you learn with this as far as positioning with the car and, you know, where you place it on the track teaches you a lot of racing skills.
We race for a 4-minute period. Some guys will just follow it with their head. Some guys get up there and sway back and forth. We do have some pretty wild crashes when you get 3 or 4 or 5 of them all tangled up together. We've actually had them go out of the racetrack. That's why we put the fence up.
99% of our crashes we can talk about immediately.
Less than minutes go. Still Mike Albrecht in the lead.
The biggest thing is the track record. That's probably the biggest bragging right you can have is to have your name put on the board.
1, 3, 8, 6, 7, and 2 on a 61-lap pace on a new track record pace.
At our level, we know who the big guys are, and we applaud them.
There is fame in the RC world, just like the big guys. only we're just a little smaller car.
That's silver number 2. He's up to second place.
It's a 57 Chevrolet. It's a Bel Air hardtop. We love old cars, always have. This is actually the first 57 I ever owned that was completely done. Had a lot of junkers in my time.
Shirley, get that lunch meat out. We'll take some sandwiches tonight, some chips and some pop.
Kind of short of money back then, and especially when you bring home $50 a week, and when you work all week, why, sometimes stick the kids in the trunk, and and I've even been in the trunk a couple times myself. It brings back a lot of memories. You know, you're driving in a car back in the 50s, you know, when actually I was a teenager in the 50s, and I drove cars like this. It just makes you think, you know, the old times.
Every time I have a date, there's only one place to go, that's to the drive-in. It's such a groovy place to talk and maybe watch a show down at the drive-in.
Most of what we saw were cowboys and Indians, John Wayne. My husband loved John Wayne.
Well, sometimes when I went to the movie, I never really got to see too much of it.
I love the drive-in.
The first kiss was at the drive-in, it sure was.
Someday there'll be a thing of the past. There's a few of them left around now, but like dinosaurs, you know, their time's going. It's real sad. You want to park back here or over where you want to go?
Don't park over here, honey. Park over there somewhere. In the center, we can see the picture better.
The drive-in has secured its place in the endangered species list, falling prey to commercial development.
As cities moved out, the land became more valuable, and people that ran them and owned them sold the land for other business opportunities.
Westlake Drive-In. This one near Rockville has become a graveyard for cars. And the old Bel Air, they're all gone.
There'll never be another drive-in theater built. It's so hard to get your money out of a 3-month operation, a 3 or 4 month operation, that there's just literally no chance of another drive-in being built.
This lost world on Pendleton Pike would be a paleontologist's dream. Remnants of yesteryear are everywhere. Once full of life, it now has the look of a deserted cemetery. Audio posts dot the landscape, much like burial markers. The sound that used to reverberate from this 1940 RCA speaker is now drowned out by crickets and cicadas. You won't find children playing here, just butterflies playing. Tag, ragweed to ragweed. Letters from the marquee used to tell of movies played. Now they spell the end. The drive-in that once echoed with the sounds of the Ten Commandments, From Here to Eternity, the spaghetti westerns and Star Wars, has fallen silent, driven to extinction.
Steven Spielberg with the movies Jurassic Park and Lost World awakened the dinosaur, and that's what we're doing with the Tibbs Drive-In.
Green 1 right in front of you there starts at 835, 88.1 on your FM radio dial. Enjoy the movie. So all I do is knock on the trunk and make sure that that they know I want them to buy some popcorn when they get in there.
You can come to a drive-in for $15, and an evenings of entertainment, you can be out here 8 hours. For $15, you just can't come by that type of entertainment anymore. It's a family value. It's just a summer thing to do.
In a beautiful setting like this with the family out here watching a movie, a new release, there's nothing better than that.
And everyone wants lots of butter. Caramel apple chips are big sellers too. Depends on the weather, what people want.
You work all weekends, holidays, drive-ins. You have dusk and dawns. You may start at 7 o'clock in the evening and don't go home till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I think being a motion picture operator really is in your blood.
Projectionist, I think it's dark enough. Let's start the movies.
But I think for drive-ins to survive, it's going to depend on the people. The people themselves love drive-ins, and I hope that they will continue to enjoy going because it is a family experience.
dinosaurs are extinct. I want my grandchildren to be able to come to the drive-in as teenagers.
Time out for a delicious snack in
I
our...
don't think there's any question that they're a dying breed. There are about 8% of the drive-ins left that were left in the 50s and 60s. So they're clearly dying out, but hopefully we have one here that's not going to.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of good memories.
There's no experience like the drive-ins.